Have you ever wondered why people willingly watch movies that make them jump, scream, or hide behind the couch? Why do horror films, haunted houses, and ghost stories pull in millions of fans, even though they fill us with dread? It's a paradox that cuts right to the heart of human psychology. We crave fear, even though it's uncomfortable, unsettling, and sometimes downright terrifying. So, what's going on inside your brain when you watch that horror flick or read a chilling story? Why do you invite the scare? Let's start with the basics. When you're exposed to horror, your brain activates the same fear circuits we talked about before. The amygdala lights up, adrenaline floods your system, and your senses sharpen. But here's the twist: you're in complete control. Unlike real danger, horror is a safe threat. You're experiencing fear without the actual risk. This safe danger is like a psychological playground for your brain. It gets to exercise its fear responses without paying the real price. The thrill, the suspense, the sudden shocks, they're all mini roller coasters for your nervous system. But it goes deeper than just a thrill ride. Psychologists believe horror taps into something primal, the fear of the unknown. Humans evolved to be hyper-alert to threats, especially those we can't predict or explain. When you watch a monster lurking in the shadows or hear a mysterious noise, your brain is hardwired to pay attention. It's a survival mechanism, yet, horror also plays with our sense of control. You choose to face the fear. You choose to open that creaking door or look behind the curtain. And in doing so, you test your limits. You ask yourself, how much can I handle? What scares me the most? That challenge triggers a complex dance of emotions: fear, excitement, curiosity, even mastery. We might also crave horror because it allows us to confront taboo subjects safely. Death, violence, the supernatural, these themes are deeply unsettling in real life, but horror lets us explore them from a distance, often with a sense of humor or exaggeration. It's a controlled descent into chaos. So next time you find yourself binge-watching a scary series or telling ghost stories around a fire, remember, your brain isn't just being entertained. It's engaging in a psychological workout. A dark, thrilling exploration of your deepest fears. Let's talk chemistry. What exactly happens in your brain when a sudden scream, eerie music, or creepy shadow sends a jolt down your spine? It all comes down to neurotransmitters, those tiny chemical messengers that control mood, arousal, and sensation. When you experience fear and horror, your brain floods with adrenaline and noradrenaline, preparing you to react. Your heart races, breathing quickens, muscles tense. But here's where it gets fascinating. At the same time, your brain releases dopamine, the same neurotransmitter linked to pleasure and reward. Why dopamine? If you're scared, because when you survive a scary moment, your brain rewards you. It's like saying, hey, you made it through that. This dopamine rush creates a kind of thrill high, a mix of relief, excitement, and satisfaction. This chemical cocktail makes horror addictive. That's why many people seek out jump scares or suspenseful moments again and again. It's a roller coaster of fear and relief that your brain craves. And it's not just dopamine, endorphins, your body's natural painkillers, also kick in, blunting discomfort and sometimes causing a euphoric feeling. You might have noticed how some people laugh nervously during horror movies. That's the brain's way of managing intense emotion, releasing tension through laughter. But there's more. Watching horror can also trigger mirror neurons, brain cells that fire when you see someone else's emotions. So when you watch a terrified character, you feel their fear. It's empathy meeting adrenaline. This empathy explains why horror fans often form communities. Sharing scares, theories, and reactions bonds people through a collective emotional experience. It's fascinating. Fear, empathy, and pleasure all swirling together. This chemical and emotional cocktail explains why horror isn't just scary. It's compelling, even addictive. Now, let's dig into what makes some people thrill seekers craving horror, while others avoid it like a plague. It's not just a matter of taste. It's wired into your personality and brain chemistry. Research shows that people with higher levels of sensation seeking, the trait describing how much excitement and novelty someone craves, tend to enjoy horror more. They seek out intense experiences, from skydiving to scary movies, because their brains reward risk and stimulation more strongly. But it's not just thrill seekers who enjoy horror. There's also a psychological concept called dispositional empathy, basically, how much you feel for others. Paradoxically, those with higher empathy can be drawn to horror too, because they experience characters' emotions deeply. Horror allows them to safely explore intense feelings of fear, compassion, and survival. On the flip side, people who score higher on neuroticism, a tendency toward anxiety and emotional instability, often avoid horror. For them, the heightened fear can be overwhelming. Pushing stress levels too high, the way your brain processes uncertainty also plays a role. If your brain struggles with ambiguity, horror's unknown threats can feel unbearable. But if you tolerate uncertainty well, you might enjoy the suspense and mystery. Ever notice how some people love slow-build horror, the creeping dread and atmosphere, while others prefer fast, intense scares? That's personality too. Lastly, culture and upbringing shape your horror appetite. Exposure to scary stories as a child, family attitudes toward fear, and even societal norms influence how you react. So, your love or loathing of horror isn't random. It's a mix of biology, personality, and experience. It's a window into how your brain balances danger and delight. So, why does horror matter beyond just entertainment? Believe it or not, horror serves a powerful psychological purpose. It's a way to process fear, trauma, and the unknown, on your terms. When you watch a horror story unfold, you're not just seeking thrills, you're rehearsing survival. You're exploring how to face danger, loss, or death without real risk. This can help build emotional resilience, the ability to bounce back from hardship. Some psychologists argue that horror lets us confront taboo topics like death or evil, breaking cultural silence around these subjects. It gives us permission to think about things we'd rather avoid. Horror also challenges our cognitive flexibility, our brain's ability to adapt and rethink. When faced with twisted plots or ambiguous endings, your mind stretches, grappling with uncertainty and complexity. In this way, horror is more than scary stories, it's a mental workout, and there's something deeply human in that. Because life itself is unpredictable and sometimes terrifying, by choosing to face fear in controlled ways, we prepare ourselves for the real uncertainties. So next time you dive into a scary movie or creepy tale, remember, you're engaging in an ancient psychological ritual.